And welcome to In Depth tonight. It is a chance of a lifetime for some of our kids right here in the Evansville area to see the happiest place on earth. It is an experience these kids will take with them and share with future generations. And it's made possible by our law enforcement officers in a program called Cops Connecting with Kids. Now this weekend, a major fundraiser is underway called Dream Bigger, and the Evansville Dream Car Museum is certainly a part of all this. I'm joined tonight by Evansville Police Chief Billy Bolin and Evansville Police Sergeant Jason Cullum. And the kids will be heading to Disney World side by side with law enforcement officers, kids heading there. This is an added dimension to the term to serve and protect. It also changes lives. Tell me about that.
You know, this started about 5 years ago. Glenwood invited us to go along on a trip where they had had a grant. We went down there on the trip. On the way home, we had saw how life-changing it was, not only for the kids, but for us, how touching it was. Jason actually mentioned, you know, do you think we could raise the money and do this? Because they knew they weren't going to have the grant again. And I said, you know, if you want to do it, I'll help you. So Jason's kind of the ringleader that went out starting to raise the money and the funds, and we started with Glenwood. Now it's grown to several schools. And it really is life-changing.
And let's roll some of the video if we can. I'm going to ask you, Jason. Obviously, it's things that we sometimes take for granted, the kids who make it to these destinations, and here is when they load up on the bus. But how has this changed their lives, especially with their siblings and family members and youngsters that they, you know, those kids look up to these kids?
When these kids get to go to Disney, it's more than just about Disney. It's more than about Mickey Mouse. It's the core experiences that they get. The travel outside of the Evansville area, staying in a hotel room, going to restaurants that, you know, they get to sit and look at a menu and order food where maybe normally they don't get to do those things. So there's a lot that goes into this that we hope the kids bring back, and they share that with their families. And especially at Glenwood, we've been there for a few years. We've had siblings that have gone where at the beginning of the program we had some 8th graders that had siblings that were a little younger, and now those siblings have gone. So we're impacting not just one kid, but we're impacting families and neighborhoods.
And how many kids, Chief, are we talking about this year for the trip?
Next year's 56?
54.
54 next year.
Okay, and with that being said, you know, it changes the kids' lives. How's it changed your life?
You know, it is really touching some of the things you hear them say and do that, you know, our kids are kind of spoiled and they get to do a lot. And when you hear some of the things that pop out to these kids or that they think that yours wouldn't, you know, the sleeping in the bed that he mentioned, some of them didn't understand, didn't think they had covers on the bed. They thought the little duvet cover at the end was the blanket. And you have to explain, no, you pull it down. I mean, some of these kids, they sleep on the floor. They don't have a bed. So those are the things that really touch you as a person. But then there's more other stories, like I had a little boy that didn't want to ride one of the rides, so I said, I'll take you over to this playground. And as we're walking over to it, it's the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience playground. And I said, this will be the coolest playground you've ever went on. It's awesome. And I'm building it up to him. And he goes, no, it won't. And I said, yeah, it would. And I thought he was just being adversarial with me. And I said, why do you say that? And he goes, have you ever seen Kids Kingdom? And that just hit me because that's my baby. And I mean, I get all teary-eyed and I'm choked up. I couldn't hardly talk to the kid. But I mean, it really is amazing. And at every trip, every one of us adults have times that we start crying or we get teary and we have to walk away and just kind of regain ourselves. And
you have a lot of one-on-one conversations, Sergeant Cullum, with the kids here, and for them just to get out of town. And this year, there's going to be something different about this. They're going to be flying there.
Yeah, we sat down and we looked at the total cost of the charter buses that we used. New Image Travel had been with us since the beginning, and they did great for us. We loved the drivers, but we were looking at ways to expand the program in Evansville and add a 4th school, which we've been able to do. We were able to figure out that per person we could fly for about the same cost and spend more time in Orlando and a little less time on the road. So next year, these kids are going to get an opportunity to fly, and I can guarantee you that for an overwhelming majority, that will be a first.
All right, and the Evansville Police Department is involved in this, and the Vanderbilt County Sheriff's Office is involved in this, but there's some big news you have tonight. You're spreading out on this.
Yeah, we have some breaking news. We met with Henderson Police Chief Jason Hargett and some of his staff, as well as Assistant Superintendent of the Henderson County Schools earlier this week. And the Henderson Police Department will be joining us with some Henderson middle schoolers on our trip in 2019. So not only have we expanded within the EVSC Now we are expanding into another community. So we are super excited to see Henderson join with us for our next trip.
And also another note on that is we're going to add a 4th school in Evansville as well this year. It's been Glenwood, Cedar Hall, and McGarry, and next year when we go, Evans is also going to be included.
And of course, fundraising is so critical to this, and this big event that I've been lucky enough to see how it works. The Dream Car Museum, the Dream Bigger weekend that's coming up. What will be involved with that? Any major changes?
Not a whole lot. It's basically the same we've done in the past. We've got the ribs and the tenderloins that we'll be selling out there. We've done a lot of pre-sales, but we will have walk-up sales both Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be grilling hamburgers, hot dogs. All the proceeds from that will come to us. The Dream Car Museum for people 13 and over, it's $10 to get in. We're going to get half of all the proceeds from the money that they take in at the museum. And then, of course, we'll be taking donations as well. So every dollar helps with this. It's about $1,000 for us to take a kid to pay for everything. And it's not just the trip, but we provide shirts for every day, new bags, a memento for the kids to keep, so souvenirs for them.
And, of course, you can't say enough good things about Larry Bennett, who has done so much.
There's never enough to say about him. And Margaret and Jason that work for him, they've done a lot for us. Larry's playing a big part in the addition of Henderson as well. There's going to be an event in July that will end over here at Audubon Chrysler that's going to benefit the Henderson kids, and we'll get some more information out on that. But this program doesn't exist if it's not for Larry Bennett, and he is always thinking of new things that we can do to help with this program so we can continue to grow.
Okay, and Saturday and Sunday then, it's going to be a little warm out there, but people are going to have a great time at the Dream Car Museum out on Diamond Avenue.
Come see us.
Where the Corvette sits high in the sky. I remember those commercials Larry did many, many years ago. Well, best of both of you on this, and the trip itself is going to be a little bit later.
We're going to move it back to May of next year. This past January, we were dodging the hurdles of school closures due to the weather as well as a terrible flu season. So we thought moving it back towards the end of the school year, we could eliminate some of those concerns. And fortunately, scheduling worked for everybody at the EVSC as well as the Henderson School Corporation.
Well, law enforcement officers, of course, from a day-to-day, just the nature of your job, there's a lot of depression you see out there and bad news, but it's good to see you in your T-shirts tonight, and we thank you for all you're doing for these kids.
We appreciate the community support. This doesn't happen if it's not for the folks that come out to these events, so we hope to see a lot of people this weekend.
All right. EPD Chief Billy Bolin and EPD Sergeant Jason Cullen, thank you so much.
Thank you.